Hi, folks. Welcome to Global Tarot Circle. It's March 28th, 2018, and it's about a minute before 7 o'clock Eastern Time. We start at 7. So if you're watching this at any other time, you're watching an archive, either on YouTube or here on Facebook. And please do watch and enjoy and do the exercises, but don't be offended if we don't respond to you, because clearly if we're not live, we're not live. Okay, people are starting to come in, and if you're here for the first time, let me explain to you how it works. If you've been here before, then you know what to do. Go ahead and say hi in the comments. I see Tracy is here. I see Uma Elizabeth is here. So glad you guys are here. Go ahead and chat in using the comments. Let us know where you are in the world, what deck you're working with, and if you have any burning questions. I see Kristen is here. I see Julie is here. It is so great. Thank you, guys. You know, obviously, either you were here waiting to get in right at the beginning, or you happen to see me go live. Either way, I'm so glad that you're here. So, we always start out with burning questions. I see Amy is here. Glad you're here. Very good. We've got 2 Kristens here. Yay, glad you're here. Wonderful. So, chat in. Let us know where in the world you are. How long have you been working with the cards? What deck are you working with? And for the first half of our program, do you have any burning questions? What's a burning question? It could be a question about tarot reading, about the cards, about a reading you've done, about a card that came up that you didn't understand. It could also be the sort of question you'd like to ask a room full of tarot readers. It could be a question for a reading. For the first half of our time together, we're here for an hour. So for the first half of our time together, we do readings for each other. Then we go into a sort of a workshop mode where I do ask you to contribute, and we'll do some exercises. So if you don't have your cards with you, make sure that you get them if you can. And let's see, Tanya's here. Nice to see you. Okay, Tracy is here from Two Rocks, Australia. So it must be like really late at night, really early in the morning where you are. So glad you're joining us. And let's see, Cheryl has a question. What will happen if I revisit an old friend? Okay, and we also have a tarot question coming up. How important are reversals, from Maya? So glad that you're here. Maya herself is a reader, as are most of you here today. Very good. Oh, you know what? Tracy says it's 7 a.m., so exactly 12 hours from 7 p.m. where I am. So great that you're here. Really appreciate it. Okay, so here's how we work. We communicate with each other. I'll obviously communicate with you this way, but you communicate with each other and with me by typing into the comments. Sometimes it gets real busy and you'll have to push refresh a couple of times. It may lag, but we deal with it. Okay. And if it's not working, if it's not playing, you might even have to reboot, but you can make it work, or, try it on a different device. So when we do readings, what I ask each of us to do, if you'd like to participate, is you'll put the name of the person you're reading for, the name of the card that you get, and your interpretation of it. So Cheryl wants to know, we'll have this be our first reading. Cheryl wants to know what will happen if she revisits an old friend. Okay, now she's not saying if this is romantic or friendship or what, so we have to kind of stay open-minded to what this might be. So again, if you'd like to participate, just write her name, Cheryl, the name of the card you get, and your interpretation. So here's what I think. What will happen if Cheryl revisits an old friend? Knight of Wands reversed. Whatever happened before is likely to happen again. There's not likely to be any change or any growth. Does that mean don't do it? Not necessarily. It just means don't expect anything more than what you've seen in the past. So I see Terry is here, and glad that you're here. So if you have cards with you and you'd like to read for Cheryl, go ahead and do that. In the meanwhile, if anyone else would like a reading, please go ahead and type in your question. You can also type in questions about tarot for tarot reading. And here's Stephen Bright popping in just before sleep. He's over in the UK. He's there to say hello and will watch us on the replay. So glad that you're here, Stephen. You probably know Stephen is the cover artist for my book, Fortune Stellar, and my future books coming out. He's also the artist of Spirit Within Tarot, and it's always great to see him. Okay, let's see. Here are a couple of questions coming in. David wants to know how to get it to play live. It should just be playing. If it's not, try rebooting. But then again, if someone could address David in the comments with some ideas, that would be very helpful. Okay, and Amy is reading for Cheryl right now in the comments. I will not be able to read every comment. So if we're reading for you, go ahead and make sure you check the comments to get the full reading, to get everyone's readings. Okay, so let's see what we got going on here. Okay, I do want to address Maya's question about reversals, but we'll do that just in a moment. Let's go to Julie's question. It's a day job question. Our firm lost 70% of my accounts, like 1, 2, 3, for no reason whatsoever. Seemed like a big sign. Thoughts on me keeping the job? Now, okay, teachable moment. Teachable moment. There's two questions here, really. One is, will this result in Julie leaving her job? But two is, should we interpret this as a sign of something? So where do we want to go with this? I think I'm going to rephrase the question to say, how should we interpret / what should we expect from this quick loss of clients? So if anyone would like to read for Julie, just write her name. The card you get, we're doing 1 card readings, each of us, but together that makes a full reading. Okay, so the name, in this case Julie, the card you got, and your interpretation. And make sure if we're reading for you that you look in the comments to see your reading. So Julie, this is what I think. The Magician. Yes, it is a sign of something. Yes, Spirit is at work here. It is also true that none of this may reflect on you or be about you. I would not necessarily say it means job loss. It may mean starting again and rebuilding. That could be in a new job. It could just be rebuilding accounts where you are. Recognize that whatever happens, you have the tools, the skills, and the abilities to do what you need to do. So there's that. Okay. Now, here's Kristen. Okay, we have a couple of Kristens here. This is Kristen with 2 eyes. So make sure you get it right in case the other Kristen asks a question. My question is, what's going on at my job? I keep getting cards telling me something big and shocking is about to happen. So what do we see for Kristen's job going forward? And again, the name, the card, and your interpretation. How are you interpreting it? Okay. So, for Kristen with 2 eyes, the Sun, yeah, that could be something big, and it could have to do with your own recognition. It could have to do with you being put sort of on a stage. It could have to do with some advancement for you or some special project. Either way, it's a good thing. Now, for Uma, I would love to know how I can best support my son's mental health and 2 sons as they approach their teenage years. I could make some growth about needing to support your own mental health with 2 teenage sons, but it's a good question. It really is. So if you'd like to read for Uma, the name of the card and your interpretation. Okay. For Uma. Okay. The 8 of Cups reversed. When there are issues that need to be discussed, it's okay to give them a little bit of space if now's not the right time to discuss it, but make sure that you make time to discuss what needs to be discussed. Talk about the difficult things. You don't have to force them in a particular moment. You have to be sensitive to timing, but don't let them get away without learning to talk about their feelings, express their feelings. From my perspective, that's the best thing that you can do. And we have lots of readings going on in the comments. Okay, next one is for Terry, Terri. When will Terry find her next romance? New love for Terry. This is a when question. When, of course, is an interesting thing. We all have our own way of doing timing. So if you'd like to read for Terry, put down her name, Terry, Terri, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. When will Terry find new romance? Ooh, the Four of Wands reversed. I gotta say, Terry, there is some way in which you do not have closure to what has happened before. Whether that's a recent ex, whether that's something that's hurt you in the past, somehow you are still bringing that energy forward and it's not helping you. You need to get full closure, full release to whatever has happened in the past, and to however the past has shaped your expectations, perhaps even in a negative way. As soon as you can let go of that, I think you'll find what you're looking for. And you guys saw what I did right there. That is a preview into something we're going to be talking about in the second half. For those of you who don't know, the Global Tarot Circle Facebook group, if you're not a member, please do join. This is where I get the ideas for what we're going to talk about. And this time around, Irene, who is here today, hi Irene, asked that one of the things we talk about in our workshop portion is tarot rituals. And you just saw me do one. She wanted to know ways we use tarot to manifest things. So, and this goes back, Maya had asked about reversals. This is a magical way to use reversals. So I had pulled for Terry the Four of Wands reversed in regards to her question about love. Now, in its upright position, the Four of Wands is a really positive card for love. In fact, we call it the marriage card. But it came up reversed because she, I believe, needs to release a lot from her past, the things that didn't work, and the expectations that came from that, so she can be open to something new. So you saw that I very deliberately turned the card around. And in that, I supported her energetically. I supported the idea of her releasing that and put energy into it and opened up the energy for that new love. So in addition to making a prediction and giving advice, I use the card by turning over the reversal. I use the card to actually bring energy to her issue. So there's a couple things there. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay. Danny. Question from Danny. Danny wants to know, if my husband and I decide to go into business for ourselves, what could we expect in terms of its success? And I see Sheila trying to help David get on in. Thank you so much for that. Hopefully that will be helpful. Excuse me. Okay. So, question for Danny, and if you'd like to read for Danny, just write the name, Danny, the card you got, and your interpretation. And anyone that I've read here for, please go through the comments and comment on the comments and get the full amount of your reading. The readings that are happening here, it's not just me, folks, it's everyone in our virtual room reading for everyone. That's what Global Tarot Circle is all about. It's a great practice, and it's interesting to see how together, with each of us pulling one card, we create a full reading. It's pretty cool, right? Okay, so for Danny, the prospects for new business. If Danny and Danny's husband have a business, how will that go? What will the prospect be? And the Fool. So if you do this, you have to do it with the idea it's a journey. It's going to take some time, and you have a lot to learn. This is not a card of immediate success, so you need to be aware of that. But this is also not a discouraging card. It could even suggest that spiritually, this could be part of your path, that this is a necessary thing to do, and it encourages you to jump off the cliff. As a business owner, I can say it does sort of feel like that. This encourages you to take a leap of faith. So, your question was, what would the result be in terms of success? And this says, well, it'll take some time, but it's worth doing, and you need to consider that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, lots of readings going on. Lots of readings. Sheila wants to know what she needs to focus on during this retrograde. And we are in Mercury retrograde. And that is a great time for editing, for looking to the past, for rewriting your story, for learning to see your story in a different way. That's very typically what Mercury retrograde can help us do. And for Sheila, what Sheila needs to focus on during this time is the Hanged Man. Look within, change your perspective, find enlightenment through the things that have upset you. Really do use this Mercury energy to look to the past, to look at all the things that have hurt you that haven't gone your way, and look at different ways and different perspectives to tell your story, to look at your story. And I see Sheila just popped in and said, yeah, I'm a writer. So it is really a good time for editing your project, seriously. But in this, you edit your narrative to bring you to a place of greater enlightenment. And I see my friend Charlotte's here from Connecticut. Very good. And no, I just read for you with this deck, not a new deck. Okay. So again, there's lots of readings going on in the comments. I absolutely appreciate people playing along. Okay, Leisha, my friend from Connecticut, who I never see in Connecticut. What's up with that? Leisha wants to know if he'll find a new job. Okay, so let's look at that. And I have not forgotten Maya's question about reversals, which we will absolutely address. Okay, so Leisha, and again, if you would like to read for Leisha, you know what to do. Put his name, the name of the card you pulled, and your interpretation. And I really appreciate everyone doing readings for everyone. It's a great thing. Leisha, finding a new job. 6 of Wands. This is the 6 of Wands. It's the card of victory. Yes, you will find a new job. I would assume a good job, something you'll be happy with. And because it's a 6, I would say by June, if not sooner. Okay. Very good. Happy to see so many people here. Okay. Let's see. So there's a relationship question, and I may mispronounce your name. Could be Tamara. Maybe some people I know with that name say Tamara, but I'm betting Tamara, so that's what I'm going to say. Please correct me if I got it wrong. Tamara wants to know if she'll marry the person she's currently with. Very often that's not a prediction, but advice. Let's take a look and see. Again, if you'd like to read for her, put her name, Tamara, the card you got, and your interpretation. What do we see for Tamara's current relationship? Does it lead to marriage? Temperance, it actually could. If you guys can communicate well, can be patient with each other, can find ways to integrate with each other, it's possible. There is a thing, though, with temperance. We have to look at temperance sometimes. It is a caution. If either of you are not patient, if either of you are dealing with substance abuse issues or mental health issues, those would need to be addressed first. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Looking for questions. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of readings going on. I'm not seeing a new question. So let's now talk about reversals. Maya wanted to know, in reading tarot, How important are reversals? And I would like you all to chat in, comment in with your ideas about reversals. And since we're then going to be talking about a couple of other topics, please start your comment with the word reversal, so we know that's what you're talking about. What are your thoughts on reversals? Do you use them? Do you not? How important are they? Now, I've already given an example of how I think reversals are important to help you incorporate magic in a tarot reading. I really believe that magic and divination can happen together. Yes, there's tarot divination. Yes, there's tarot magic, but we can all do it together. And in a way, divination is magical, isn't it? And so working with reversals there is a very good way of bringing that magic in, but it's not necessary. Now, Maya says she doesn't use them. And, you know, the question is, if you are happy with your readings and you don't use reversals, there's really, like, I cannot give an argument, like if it's not broke, don't fix it. I cannot give an argument that says, you must use reversals, or if you don't use reversals, you're not a great tarot reader. No, here's the thing. Reversals are a way of figuring out dignity or aspect. The words dignity and aspect refer to how a card should be read. Should it be read in its most direct manner? Or is there a delay? Is there an avoidance? Is there too much of the energy of the card? Is there too little? And whether or not you use reversals, you do interpret dignity. You do interpret aspect. Because you'll look at a card and maybe based on the context of the question, based on the way you feel about the card, based on the other cards that come up, you may use its most direct interpretation, or you may sense that this card is talking about a lack of its energy or too much of its energy. Reversals will give you that very quickly, but you don't need reversals to get that information. So if you're getting that information and your readings feel complete and juicy and vibrant, there's no need to add the reversals. However, if you want more nuance, more texture, more information, if you feel like your readings are lacking, then bringing the reversals in could add that energy and does also add some magical opportunity, if you will. So we have a lot of people talking about reversals here. Thank you so much here. Okay, so Maya doesn't. Karen does. Hey, Karen, nice to see Rowdy's doing better. That's fabulous. Sheila uses them and loves them. Thinks they can be internal, can be obstacles, can be insight. Let's see. Tracy doesn't use reversals, but if one does turn up in a reading, which is rare because I do pay attention to it. I am one who always makes sure they are turned right way up. So if it does turn, I pay attention. So, and I will tell you, I shuffle in order to create reversals. I twist those cards around and try to have reversals because I really like to work that way. Okay, Karen Reinhardt, nice to see you here, does use reversals. I find it provides another layer of insight into the reading and possibilities for potential outcomes. Julie does read reversals. To me, the energies are much more obvious that way. Sometimes I hesitate when drawing the cards as to which way it wants to land, and I find I can see both sides based on the position. Oh, I love that. Tanya uses them as well. Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. So, okay, we have more readings going on, and we do have time just for a couple of more readings or any other burning questions before we move on to our workshop topics today. Of course, we'll run till the top of the hour. In my time zone, it's 8 p.m. I think for someone here, it'll be 8 a.m., but we run for an hour, and we do this once a month. Okay, here's Margaret. Glad you're here from Sun City, Florida, and Margaret doesn't use reversals. Okay. So, any other questions, go ahead and chat them in. And any other comments or questions about reversals, you can chat that in as well. And let me, before I introduce you to the topics, that we're going to talk about, let me just remind you that this is also an opportunity for you to promote what you've got going on. If you've got a book, a tarot deck, a tarot reading business, a blog post, anything that you would like to share with your tarot community, by all means, go ahead and put it in the comments at some point while we're here. My quick shameless self-promotion. I want to thank everyone I saw while I was in Connecticut and New York City. It was freaking cold. Oh my gosh. But you guys were so warm. It was great. I'll be back in June. I'm now back in Palm City taking readings here. And of course, my book, Fortune Stellar, is available. You can order it signed from my website or quicker and a little cheaper and easier from Amazon. So please go ahead and do that if you would like. And here are our final questions for readings before we go into workshop mode. And we're starting with Tracy. See, this is my favorite question. Tracy says, what does the universe want me to know? Which, by the way, is the inherent question in any general reading, which is why I have no problem when people ask for general readings, because that's a question. What does the universe want me to know? Right? Okay, so if you'd like to see for Tracy what the universe wants her to know, go ahead, pull a card for her. Put her name, the card you got, and your interpretation. Tracy, Hermit reversed. The universe wants you to know that although you are well studied, although you are wise, although you are smart, these are all good things, but it is also good to relax and kick it with your friends. Okay, go ahead and read for Tracy. Now, for Karen Hendershot, went back to college. Good for you. That's fabulous. I am thrilled to hear this. She wants to know if she picked the right path. What can you say about Karen's return to college in one card? Go ahead, Karen. Name of the card and what you see for Karen's return to college. Knight of Wands reversed. You may be in the right church, but the wrong pew. If it's not feeling right, it is not too late to turn it around a little bit. It is good for you to be pursuing something, but exactly what you're pursuing may need a little tweaking. Okay. Margaret has daughter issues. Margaret wants to know if she will ever get along with her daughter. If you'd like to read for Margaret, go ahead and put her name, pull a card, give the interpretation. What can we say about Margaret's relationship with her daughter? The Sun reversed. First of all, there's a lot here that you have to stop taking personally, number one. And number two, it may be she has some issues that have nothing to do with you, having to do with her own relationship with herself, with her own relationship with the world. You guys are personalizing what's going on here probably more than you should. That would be my advice. And here's Joanne. Joanne, I'm so sorry I didn't get to see you when I was in Connecticut. I'll make sure we try to get together next time. Joanne says she avoids reversals. The reading and surrounding cards are going to determine the meaning. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. And question for Irene. How can Irene get more clients? So this is a business question, but I really like handling business questions with the cards. That's the whole premise of my book, Fortune Stellar. So, what can Irene do to get more clients for her tarot business? If you'd like to read for her, her name, the cards you got, and your interpretation. Knight of Cups, Irene, you got to get the message out more, and you have to do it by really proclaiming your love for what you do. You know, I think, like many of us, you can be a little shy. The marketing part is hard. You know, if we were naturally good at marketing, ain't none of us would be tarot readers. We'd all be marketers. So the Knight of Cups is really about marketing with your heart, marketing from your heart. So I think that's what you need to do. Okay. Kimberly Essex, how are you? So glad you're here today. Here's a question from Kimberly. Kimberly wants love advice. She's currently single. What do you have to say to single Kimberly? Go ahead, put her name, the name of the card, and the advice you have for her. And if we're reading for you, make sure you check the comments to get your full reading. Kimberly. Six of Swords. Stay in your logical mind. Be single and put the past in the past. There are some things from your past, either regarding your family of origin or earlier love relationships, that really should not define how you want future relationships to look. Right now is not the time to look for or expect a relationship necessarily, but to focus on your own growth, to focus on moving yourself forward, to focus on your journey. As you do that, everything else will unfold. But look to your own success first. Okay, Veronica. Hey, Veronica. Will Veronica's event be successful? Interesting question. What do you know about Veronica's upcoming event? If you want to read for her, go ahead and put her name, Veronica, the name of the card, and your interpretation. Let's see what we got. And we'll be closing readings in a few minutes so we can get on to the workshop. We will not have time to get to everyone. And of course, if you're watching this in archive, maybe you'll catch us live next time. Okay, Veronica, about Veronica's event. Magician reversed. We have some problems here. If you are organizing the event, you need to take a look, and here we're going to do some tarot magic. We're going to turn it right side up to open up the energy. You need to make sure that all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed. You or whoever's in charge of the event need to pay attention to the details and to make sure, if it involves getting information to the attendees, that you do what you have to do to make that happen. You do that and it will be a success. Okay, Tanya. What will happen? Tanya wants to know about work. I feel as though there will be a major shift at work. What will become of me? What's going to happen with Tanya's job? And then we'll do Marguerite, who would like just a card. So we'll see what the universe wants Marguerite to know. And I think these will be our last two readings. So for Tanya, is there a major shift coming at work? What's going to happen with Tanya at work? Okay. Hey, Serena. Nice to see you here. Okay, Tanya at work. 3 of Cups. It may not be a bad shift. It may be something you will celebrate. You may be feeling something. It may be a good thing. Be open-minded. Want to do a reading for Tanya about her job? Go ahead. And finally, what does the universe want Marguerite to know? Marguerite, 3 of Swords. There is something causing you pain. There is something causing you heartache. This is an opportunity for healing. Take this time. Meditate with the heart chakra. Think about the ways that your own thoughts cause you to feel hurt. Use this opportunity to heal. Okay, so if you'd like to continue reading for people, go ahead. That's fine. If we didn't get to your, here's one more for the other Karen. We'll do this one. Okay, for Karen Reinhardt, her current work situation, 1 card. Okay, so if you'd like to continue doing readings, here are a couple of more opportunities, but then I promise we're getting on to the workshops. I'm just such a softie. Okay, for Karen Reinhardt, current work situation, the Fool reversed, you may need to make a change. Things may not be going in your direction. This may not be your fault. It may not be anything you can do about it. I'm supporting that change and supporting a better energy by writing the reversal for you to bring that energy in. But you may have a change coming and you yourself may need to make a change. Okay, so I want to talk about what Irene called tarot rituals. How do you use tarot for magic and manifestation? And when you chat in, because we're doing a bunch of different things all in the same comment thread, start your comment with tarot ritual, or you can use the word magic or manifestation, and then tell us, how do you use tarot? Not only to predict or to see or to advise or to understand, but to manifest. And I will tell you, I do it in a lot of different ways. I will do tarot magic that really does not involve divination at all, except now the late, great Donald Michael Craig said that whenever you're going to do magic, you should always do divination first to see if you should do the magic. But then he will always say, and even if you don't like the results of your divination, if you choose to do the magic anyway, okay. So, that's a way that divination and magic work together. The basic way that I do tarot magic is to recognize that each card carries an energy. So if you want that energy in your life, you can find that card, meditate with it. You could print it out and carry it with you. For instance, if I were going on a job interview, I would always want to carry an image of the Ace of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles, for instance. You can print out the image and hang it on your wall. You can even, in fact, I taught a tarot magic class recently where we used our phones, where I brought in a bunch of cards and I let people pick through cards and have everyone arrange the cards that they chose to manifest what they want to manifest and then take a picture of those cards. And then they can print out that picture or just meditate on it with their phone. So you choose the picture, you can burn a candle with it, you can hang it on your wall, you can print it out and carry it with you. I sometimes buy tiny little tarot cards so I can pick them out and just shove them in my bra and wear them next to my heart. I do that. So those are ways that I do tarot magic. I see Celeste has just arrived. So glad you're here. It was great to see you in Connecticut. Thanks so much for that. So let's see what Kimberly Essex does. She will set a card as the backdrop on her phone. Or lock screen that depicts what I want to manifest. That way I see it all the time. Brilliant. I love the way we're making magic digital. Oh, that's fabulous. Love it. Love it. Let's see what Tracy does. When we were trying to purchase a new home, I made a wheel of tarot on the steps it would take and then set it as my screensaver so I would read it every day and put my intent into it. I love this. Hey, Topeka, nice to see you. So glad you're here. Amy, and we've stopped doing readings, but if we get a moment, we'll try to get it in for you. Thanks for your question. Amy, regarding tarot magic. Many times I choose cards and place them within an altar I create. I sometimes photograph these altars for clients and send them along so we can both focus on the intention as I hold space for them. That's beautiful. Hey, Julia. Serena, I also suggest tarot cards to my clients who need to manifest a particular quality. Very good. Hey, my neighbor, Joe, it's so nice to see you. Glad you're here. Hey, let's run back to Topeka real quick. I know I said we weren't doing any more readings, but we've got just a minute to do this, and Topeka just got here, so let's welcome her. Topeka has a current situation, wants to know what spirits and guides have to offer in this current situation. So this is a great teachable moment, how to do a reading when you have no idea what the situation is. It's perfectly possible to do this. I'll do it, and if you'd like to try, her name is Topeka, D-I-P-I-K-A, the name of the card and the reading for her. Topeka, here's what I think regarding your current situation. The Six of Cups. Look at how this situation has occurred in the past. Does it remind you of something in the past? Is it a repeat of something? Does it make you feel a certain kind of way from the past? Is there some past life karma involved here? Do not let it trigger you in a negative way. Do deal with it in a mature way. Do look for wisdom from your ancestors in dealing with this. Do not repeat old cycles unless they are healthy cycles. Look at what you have learned from the past. Hopefully that helps. Okay. Any other comments about tarot, magic, ritual, and manifestation? I would comment there is also tarot jewelry, which is a really fun thing to wear and can also bring us some energy. Okay, let's move on. A question that came up in our group, and if you're not a member of the Facebook group, it's Global Tarot Circle, We do exercises there, and it's where I collect ideas for what we're going to talk about here. And if you want to make sure you don't miss this, we'll remind you. So the question is about elements. We know that every tarot card is associated with one of the four elements: earth, air, fire, and water. We know the four suits divide very neatly into the four elements. We also know that the major arcana, while also the suit of ether or the suit of spirit, each major arcana card also has an elemental association, according to the Golden Dawn. So when we do a reading, we see the elements are present. Now, when we look at the elements, we know that the four elements have metaphysical properties as well as physical ones, right? And so the first question, when we talk about how to bring more elemental meaning, elemental interpretation, elemental conversation into a reading, is we have to think about practically, what are we told about a client's relationship, what are we told about a client's relationship with the elements? That's the question. And I see another question popping in that I'd like to address from Celeste. What would the Hermit help manifest? Okay, anyone who wants to make a suggestion here, go ahead. For Celeste, she wants to know, what would you use the Hermit card for to manifest? So if you want to answer this, just write down Hermit and what you would use it to manifest. Okay, here are some things. Solitude. If you're tired of people, that would work. Wisdom. If you really want to make the arduous journey for real wisdom, that would help. Mentorship. If you're looking for a difficult but effective mentor, that would help. What else would the Hermit be good for? If you were going for a PhD or some other advanced degree, the Hermit would help you with that. If you wanted people to listen to you and understand your wisdom, the Hermit would help for that. Oh, Joanne says Hermit, to look inside yourself. Sheila, Hermit, writing, teaching, counseling. Maya, Hermit, spirituality. Kimberly, Hermit, deep understanding. A perfect card for working on a thesis project. From Dawn, Hermit, spiritual enlightenment. From Amy, Hermit, much needed alone time. The light of guidance on your path. From Tanya, quality time for yourself. So that's a great question and a great way of looking at how we would use the cards for ritual magic. That's beautiful. Okay, so let's go back to the elemental thing. And for this conversation, just, say elements and write your comment. And my first question, okay, I think most of us probably have a basic understanding of the metaphysical properties of the four elements. But how does it show up symptomatically? In other words, when we're doing a tarot reading, what we're pretty much going to see is either a person has too much or too little of a particular element. I was reading for a person the other day. No fire. There was no fire there. But if you're talking to a person who's not particularly a metaphysical person, and you say, there's no fire here, you need more fire, they're not really necessarily going to know what that means. So I'd like to have a conversation about what are the actual symptoms of too much or too little of the four elements. So when you participate here, write down what you're talking about. Too much air equals. Too little air equals. I'll run through what I think, but go ahead and share what you think. And remember, folks, when you participate, don't just listen to me. The greater wisdom is going on here in the comments, so make sure you read them. Okay, so if a person has not enough fire, as the person I read for the other day, it could be they're uninspired. It could be their sex life sucks. It could be, or is non-existent. It could be that they are not feeling passionate or engaged or healthy or vital in their lives. Too much fire could be anger, could be a sex addiction, could be too much fire could be just having so much burning within you that you can't settle down and do what you need to do. So what about air? Too much air is overthinking. and even thinking your way into depression or anxiety, the paralysis of analysis, that kind of thing. Not enough air is not being logical. Too much water is drowning in your own emotions and staying stuck in your own emotions. Not enough water is not acknowledging your emotions, not dealing with your emotions. Too much earth may be being so grounded you got no imagination, that you're so practical that you're not having any fun or not making room for miracles in your life. Not enough earth, you're feeling ungrounded. You may not be taking care of your health. You may not be okay financially. So the whole deal with elements is about balance, isn't it? And a lot of times in a reading, you will see all the elements represented in a pretty even way. And so you can think that this person is fairly well balanced in this way. Now, again, when we're talking about the elements, there are some clients you can say, you need more fire, and they'll know what you mean. There are some clients you can say, okay, you need more fire. Metaphysically, what that means is you need more passion. You need to feel more engaged in your life. Or you don't even need to mention the element. You can just say, look, there's a lot showing up here that suggests that you are not as engaged in your life or feeling as vital as you would like to, or feeling as passionate as you would like to, or feeling as creatively inspired as you would like. You don't even have to mention the element to do an elemental reading. Judge your client in terms of how that's going to resonate for them. Now, I think that when we talk about the elements, one thing that is true is when you're looking at particular cards in a reading, you can interpret cards more than once in the same reading to mean more than one thing. So, for instance, there are cards, specifically particular cards in the minor arcana, that give you very clear instruction on what to do with the elements. But they could also have practical interpretation in the reading. So say you see the Ace of Pentacles, and that Ace of Pentacles may say, oh, a new job is coming soon, or you should look for a new job, or I think you're going to get a raise, or something like that. But that Ace of Pentacles could also tell this person that they need to really work on their grounding, that they really need to feel more connected to the element of earth. Now, you could suggest for them exercises like baking bread, like walking barefoot, like gardening, and that those things would help them. And you could say, and it looks like you have a new job. So you can still give your normal interpretation for the card, but then also come back and give the elemental interpretation as well. Now, there's a question going on about the fifth element, which is spirit or ether. And yes, that is represented by the majors, absolutely. However, the majors also have their own elemental associations, which, if you haven't studied, I really recommend that you do, because it is fascinating. To think of the Lovers as an air card, for instance, to think of the Star as an air card, and they both are, really gives you a whole new way of looking at those cards that can be very helpful in their interpretation. So we have a lot of good stuff going on here. Let me talk with you about these specific minor arcana cards that give us instruction as far as what to do with their element. The aces will tell you to make the element a focus. And we'll even talk about that from a chakra perspective. For instance, the Ace of Pentacles can talk about nurturing your root chakra, which is your earth chakra. Your Ace of Cups could talk about really connecting with the element of water and nurturing the heart chakra. So look at aces as clear direction to connect with that element. And again, sometimes with clients, you can even suggest activities. Ace of Cups, go to the beach, take a shower, take a nice bath with candles, whatever, that kind of thing. So the court cards also tell us what to do with the elements. For instance, pages tell us to learn. So if you get the Page of Swords, it might be you need to learn about your relationship with air and how you're dealing with air. The Knights tell us to pursue. So the Knight of Cups may tell us to really pursue an understanding of our emotion. The Knight of Pentacles may tell us to pursue our grounding. The Queens tell us to nurture. So the Queen of Swords may say you have to nurture the truth. The kings tell us to be a leader, an exemplar for others, to show others through our actions how to cultivate a relationship with that element. So the King of Cups could say, be an exemplar of how you work with your emotions and how you make other people feel more comfortable emotionally. So those are some ways of working with the elements in your readings. Let's take a look and see what people have had to say about this. So let's see. Oh, this is a good one from Kimberly. Not enough air. Can't communicate or find words. Oh, heck yes. Heck yes. And if you're a person like me who has a job that involves communicating, that's a huge thing. And here, now see, we're going to put magic back into it. If I am feeling a little shaky around my communication skills, I will find a card that really represents air to me, like the Knight of Swords, where, I am really pursuing air, and I may hold it to my throat and breathe it in and breathe in that energy to help loosen up my throat so I can communicate. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay, Sheila, not enough fire, not getting satisfaction or passion. And that can be everything from spiritual to humor to sex. And generally I see like if it's one, it's all in many ways. But sometimes a person who needs more fire, you can just tell them to watch funny movies. There are some people you can get really esoteric with and other people not so much. And that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So now Joanne and the fifth element. I always appreciate Joanne because she'll bring a whole new thing here. Could that be too much dependence on religion and using it as an excuse? Blaming it or using it to justify your life or situations? Good Lord. So the fifth element would primarily be represented by major arcana. So let me rephrase this question. When we talk about a spread where there's lots of major arcana, we have a lot of discussion about what that might mean and what might not mean, what it might not mean. One thing that I hear from people that I can't stand, it always makes me angry when I hear it, is the idea that, well, the major arcana are the things you can't change and the minor arcana are the things you can. I hate that. I hate that. Yes, there are times the major arcana will talk about things that you can't change, but there are times the minor arcana will talk about things you can't change as well. The major arcana, yes, talks about big spiritual truths, but can also talk about mundane things. My favorite example, of course, is the Chariot. Could be your mastery in life. It could also be your freaking car. And it can be both at the same time. So I hate anything that is rigid when it comes to tarot interpretation, because there are only 78 cards to talk about a world of information. So I feel like rigidity doesn't help us. So then we say, well, what does it mean? When there are a lot of major arcana cards in a reading, what does it mean? And could it mean that we are doing the spiritual bypass thing, that we are using religion or spirituality as a crutch or an excuse? Could that be? Go ahead and chat in your thoughts about major arcana and whether a lot of major arcana cards could point to hanging on too much to dogma, spiritual bypass, using religion as a crutch or an excuse. What do you think? Would love to hear what you have to say about that. Okay, let's see what we've got going on. From Tracy about the elements. Air, too little, not enough thinking, or too much overthinking. Fire, too much hot flashes. That must be me. Obsessed with creating career and etc. Not enough, no get up and go, lack of passion for life. Too much water is depression. Not enough is cold and not being able to express themselves. This is good stuff, you guys. I really feel like there's a lot of great information being shared here. So make sure you give it a read. Okay, here's some thoughts from Karen on major versus minor. Major versus minor to mean major big things going on versus small things going on. Big versus small is very objective. What is a big deal problem for someone may be nothing for someone else. So true, so true. Absolutely. Let's see. Oh, yes, Sheila, Major Arcana, pay attention. Look deeper instead of just the mundane. Oh, I love that. Oh, this is a good one from Kimberly. Lack of water is lack of flexibility. Oh my goodness gracious. I love that. I wouldn't have thought about it. From Celeste, lots of major could be not enough relaxation and downtime. From Tracy, sometimes a lot of major can mean that fate may step in where you can't. And I do agree with that, especially if you get some of the fate cards like the Wheel of Fortune, which just sort of throw this, anything can happen in there. So I think a lot of us are in agreement that there's not necessarily a set sense of major arcana cards will always tell you this or minor arcana cards will always tell you that. But that major arcana cards do tell us to pay attention and do tell us to think deeply. I really like what Karen had to say about big event versus small event. And that even comes up psychically. I've told, some of you have heard this story before, but it bears telling again. Friend of mine who's very psychic. One morning, he calls me up and he says, look, I have a really bad feeling about today. I just want to let you know, if I don't see you again, goodbye. I just have a bad feeling. And of course, this leaves me with sort of a bad feeling. And I checked my cards. I didn't see anything bad for him. So he calls me back at the end of his workday. Yes, a big, terrible thing had happened that day. His belt had broken and he had to go buy a new belt. That was the big, terrible thing that happened. And so when we talk about that from a tarot perspective, where we're talking about a tower experience, is your tower experience of the day going to be your death? Or is it going to be that you're going to have a fashion crisis? Sometimes with the cards or without the cards, psychically, intuitively, with the cards, with any tool, it's hard to know degree. And I think it's important to recognize that. From Joanne, she says that water is about lightening up. When there's a lot of water, maybe we're taking things too seriously. That is really beautiful. I love that. So we are coming to the end of our time together. If you are watching this in archive on YouTube or Facebook, thank you so much. Go ahead to the Global Tarot Circle group on Facebook so that you can join and catch us live next time. We do this once a month. Typically, recently, it's been on the last Wednesday of the month, but I can't say that's going to last. That's just what's working for me right now. Again, I want to remind you to drop your shameless self-promotion. If you've got a blog post, a website, an event, something that you would like to promote, go ahead and put it in the comments so that we can all support each other. My shameless self-promotion, my book, Fortune Stellar, is available on Amazon and also on my website. What else do I want to tell you? I am available for readings. I do readings via Skype, phone, FaceTime, Messenger, and also here in my office in Palm City, Florida. I also travel to select locations, so if you'd like to see me in your town, that can be arranged. I'm also available for mentorship. If you would like to take the next step in your tarot practice, be that personal or professional, I can help you with that. I see Maya has put a link for her website. Go ahead and check that out. I thank you all so much for being here. And again, please read every comment. I really appreciate what everyone has had to say here today. And we have, we've grown to such a big group that I can't possibly read everyone's comment aloud, but I want you to know that I'm seeing it. And I hope that you're seeing it too, because what makes this group special isn't me, it's you. It's our ability to work together, to read together, to share information together. And I so appreciate your being here with me tonight. And I will look forward to seeing you again very soon. And have a good time. I think the weather is clearing up a little bit in Connecticut. It's beautiful here in Florida. Have a great day for those of you on the other side of the planet. And for those of you on my side of the planet, have a wonderful evening. I will look forward to seeing you all again really soon. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.